Today I'm going to have to focus on the situation at Laurentian. Mr. Hache, the Bankruptcy Protection Act has been around since 1933, and according to the experts I've spoken with, it has never, ever been used on a public institution, and certainly not a university. But one of the tools that it's used for is to give breathing room to be able to restructure. So I'm interested in the decision that was made to fire 100 professors, cancel 58 undergrad courses, and kill 11 postgraduate courses in the midst of the final week of classes. Why did you sign off on that date? Why did you not give the students a chance to finish their year?
So thank you very much for the question. In effect, all students had a chance to finish their year. Let me start by saying that. Under the CCA process, we had an initial stay of proceedings from the 1st of February to the 30th of April. That was the length that the court gave us to initiate the negotiations and conversations that needed to be had for the changes that needed to be implemented before the 30th of April, so that the court could consider providing an extension of that.
Okay, but I got to stop you there. Students did not get the opportunity to finish their year because you were firing professors before courses had been marked. You were telling professors there was no severance, they were out the door. You were canceling and taking down the online course information before students finished their year. I have spoken with students who tell me that their degree has been irreparably damaged. That was a decision you made. To tell me that these students got to finish their year is false. So why you had the breathing space with CCAA, why did you use the most tense week in a student year to cancel and fire the teachers?
I'm sorry, but that is not correct. No teacher left the university before the 30th of April. Most teachers...
No, they were told they were going out the door, and that caused chaos.
Were told,
and you were pulling down you were pulling down the course information. Why did you not give them the breathing space?
All students got to complete their year. The course information you're referring to is course information for next year. We were, as I attempted to explain, we were required to do so because of the timeline of the court-imposed stay of proceedings. And I will point out that all of the changes that occurred were negotiated changes either with the academic senate of the university on the programming side or with the labor unions on the staff and faculty side.
I find that interesting because on January 25th, the labor union at Laurentian said they were filing a complaint that you were bargaining in bad faith. They also stated that you'd saved $10 million since 2018 with cuts to the staff. So I think it's really unfair for you to claim that the labor union signed off on this decision to start firing the teachers before the year ended. Because I want to just step back from here, because I read your filings. They're extensive. It would have taken months of planning to make the decision to kill the midwife program or the physics program or mining engineering. So when did you start the process of evaluating what courses would be terminated? Was that in December or January? When did that process start?
Process for evaluating the courses that would be terminated started after the 1st of February. It was a process that included representatives of the academic senate of the university that met many times. The university did provide data, financial data, enrollment data on the programs, and then there was a series of conversations that were had, negotiations that were had to land on the programs that were sustainable and could continue for the university, and those programs that unfortunately needed to be closed in order for the university to have the chance to continue.
I guess with the frustration that we have, I mean, for us in Northern Ontario, Laurentian is a symbol. My father became a graduate in his 40s because he could go to a school in Northern Ontario. He became a professor of economics. I have spoken with students who've come from across Canada to go to Laurentian because it's a symbol. And yet what we see is this image of chaos and disregard. The people that I've spoken with who've been irreparably harmed. And the idea that you use the CCAA to initiate this, it doesn't make sense because, Mr. Hache, you told the students that last spring you were almost at a balanced budget. You said that you were almost at a balanced budget. Then in October, you said, well, you had a debt about $7 million. And then you told in the last week of their school year that they had a choice. You were either going to shut the school down or do these massive cuts. Who made that decision that those were your only two options? Hello?
Monsieur Haché? Madame Larouche.
Oui, Madame la Présidente, effectivement, au niveau de la traduction, on me dit que dans le cas de Madame Blais, il y avait une connexion mauvaise, même chose pour Monsieur Haché, puis là, l'image semble figée, puis il y avait des difficultés à comprendre aussi pour traduire.
Oui, absolument. Monsieur Haché,
So, Madam Chair, I've lost about a minute there, so can you add that to my time?
Actually, 30 seconds. The 30-second sign was
Well,
up.
with the intervention.
30 seconds. I stopped the clock at the intervention. Mr. Angus, 30 seconds for Mr. Haché to respond to your question.
So I'm not sure exactly what the question was because I had some audio issues as well.
Well, the question is that you told the students that last spring you were just a couple of $100,000 away from having a balanced budget. Then in October, you said that your debt was about $7 million with an impact of $5 to $10 million from the pandemic. Then the 2nd of April, you dropped this bombshell that you had only two choices. You were either going to shut a university that had 60 years of public investment and walk away on it, or you had to do these massive cuts. That does not, you're not telling us something here. Were you not aware that that debt was there, or were you using this process for other reasons, to cut your staff with your collective bargaining agreement? Why did you go from telling people that you were almost at a balanced budget to telling us you had to shut the doors? And that took place in less than a year.
Well, simply it was required that we have a balanced budget. At that point, Laurentian had no additional capacity to take on additional debt. And so we did work very hard prior to the pandemic to meet the projected budget of the year. But then with the overall, we just simply had no more room at the end of that. So on the 1st of February, we had to take the decision as Laurentian was insolvent, and we had no alternative but to close the doors or to initiate this process. And we initiated this process to provide a future for the students.